It appears that James Corden is managing to cause trouble for restaurant owners and waiting staff without even actually being there. He's historically had run-ins with the owner of the Balthazar restaurant in New York City when he turned up and was particularly obnoxious and particularly rude to waiting staff during his visit. This led to him being banned by the proprietor, but later unbanned after the proprietor received a phone call from James himself to apologise for his actions. It appears tensions have flared up again after a patron of the restaurant spoke up and supported Mr. Corden, which led to some violent scenes outside the Balthazar restaurant. In videos widely shared on social media, we can see a full-blown brawl between two rival factions of customers of the restaurant, but also by waiting and other staff from Balthazar. It's a Balthazar brawl, the ever-dramatic Daily Mail writes. Fists fly outside fancy New York City restaurant, and owner says it's all down to his foe, James Corden. Ding ding, round 2. Diners at trendy New York restaurant Balthazar were left speechless when several men began brawling on the street directly beside busy tables, and the owner says that James Corden is to blame. Now, James Corden is probably one of the UK's least popular exports. I think the Americans will quite happily keep the Beatles and the Stones, but probably aren't that keen on keeping Mr. Corden, who previously presented The Late Late Show. Stunned onlookers said the men came to blows on Saturday afternoon outside the Soho restaurant. Video of the incident has been widely shared, showing a melee as multiple staff tried to stop the man using metal bollards and chairs. Some of these people either really liked or really disliked Mr. Corden. Of course, this could be being exaggerated. It could be being blown out of proportion for publicity purposes. As the article says, restaurateur Keith McNally, who owns Balthazar in New York, alongside a swathe of other restaurants, shared a picture to his own social media depicting the brawl. There was a huge fight outside the Balthazar on Saturday night, he said, after a customer voiced support for James Corden. McNally publicly pilloried James Corden in October 2022 after a particularly unfortunate encounter at the restaurant, after which it was revealed that he'd banned Corden. He said that James Corden is a hugely gifted comedian but a tiny cretin of a man, and the most abusive customer to my Balthazar servers since the restaurant opened 25 years ago. Now, that is a sentiment that seems to be echoed by an awful lot of people who have had the, shall we say, displeasure of meeting or working with Mr. Corden in the past. As a side note, as there is going to be the last apparently ever episode of Gavin and Stacey aired this Christmas, I can't help but feel it's becoming increasingly difficult for viewers and fans of the series to separate the artist from the art. It is very hard to find humour in the hapless Smithy character that James Corden plays when we know how he is and his personality and his actions when the cameras aren't rolling. Anyway, the restaurateur was initially hesitant to publicly put James Corden on blast, but did so out of loyalty to restaurant servers everywhere. We always say, don't we, that you can tell an awful lot about a person by how they treat waiting staff and, dare I say, other staff in the hospitality sector. It's definitely always been a particular measure that I use to determine the true nature of someone's character. As I say, it says that hours after the initial post he revealed that Corden had personally called him to apologise, and as such he'd revoked the ban. A customer who'd witnessed Saturday evening's brawl firsthand said she was extremely disappointed in how the staff and management handled the situation. It did seem that the staff and management were handling the situation by trying to break up the ever-escalating brawl that was occurring outside their premises, which included a man trying to attack another with metal bollards and metal signs. Sorry to interrupt the video, only 5% of the people who watch these videos regularly are actually subscribed. If you don't mind just hitting that subscribe button, it's completely free, there's no obligation, you can unsubscribe at any time, and there would be no hard feelings from me. There's also a link in the description below if you fancy buying me a pint. It says buy me a coffee, but a pint's much better, isn't it? Particularly on a warm day like today. Anyway, back to the video. However, the woman said that the least they could have done was offer her a complimentary glass of wine, which very much seemed to divide opinion. They fell to the ground right in front of us, right before I took my phone out. It was so unexpected. This is my first and last time in this terrible establishment. Soho is not safe anymore. I'm not totally sure what the restaurant was meant to do about men brawling outside after hearing the evil name of Mr. Corden. However, it seems that she was very unhappy when she wasn't given her complimentary glass of wine as an apology for getting this story out of the events of the day. The woman was criticised, as she should be, for her out-of-touch response to the incident, with witnesses arguing waiters were actually fighting people off. Can you imagine having a bad day like that at work and then being sad that you didn't get a free glass of wine? Police were called to the scene about 4 p.m. on Saturday regarding a harassment complaint. The NYPD said the man entered the restaurant and was accused of causing annoyance and alarm. The man was not wanted by police and there is no further investigation. I have never seen a brawl erupt over the mentioning of a celebrity or comedian's name before. However, if someone is to be a controversial figure, then certainly James Corden fits that bill very, very well. I just wanted to share this really because it kind of made me smile that it's kind of an extension of managing to start a fight in an empty room, isn't it? James Corden has managed to start a brawl in a restaurant that he once frequented without actually even being there. Stay safe and stay sane, everyone.